I do a lot of marketing for gutter companies, and I think gutter companies are in a unique position currently for a few reasons. One, private equity money has not yet swooped in on the gutter business like it has on other services like roofing and plumbing and HVAC. Number two, gutter companies have a surprisingly high average ticket and they have the ability, right? There is the ability there to have a high average ticket. If your gutter company doesn't currently, it does have that range, right? The opportunity is there. And I would think anything that can have an average ticket over $1,000 is in a good spot. And gutter companies really can get up closer to $2,000 for average tickets. So I think that's another benefit that gutter companies have. And number three is I think it's generally overlooked. Sure, there's a lot of gutter companies out there, but when it comes to really high competition, gutter companies in most cities do not face the kind of competition that other home services do. So I want to talk about marketing for gutter companies, what I've done, what I do that's worked, and what I would do if I was a gutter company right now. So I think, before I get into this too much, right now is a great time for gutter companies, but I do think private equity is coming. The money is coming. I think there's a time window right now where if gutter companies wanted to build, want to get big, and potentially either take on, compete with big money or sell their company to big money, now is that time. So I think take advantage right now if you are a gutter company or you're considering starting a gutter company because it's about to get difficult. So I think it's a key opportunity. So I'm partnered with many gutter companies, or I work with many companies. Some I partner with, some just pay me flat. But either way, here's some of the things that we've done with gutter companies that's worked. So first of all, when I come into a gutter company and I look at what they're doing, the first thing that we want to do is find the quick wins, right? We want to find quick ways to get clients, get revenue, and there's a few things that we can do. Typically, this means going for LSA ads, getting those going, Google ads. We are fortunate enough to have worked with enough gutter companies where we have Google ad campaigns that are more likely to work than other Google ad campaigns. Every city is different. It's important to understand that, but that's another place that we like to get going because we want to start bringing in revenue. You can always use things like SMS campaigns. We have some other people that we've worked with in the past that offer different services that could work. But those are what I call the quick wins. Those are things that we can do right away, that you should do right away if you're running a gutter company and you want to start competing really well. So that's what I call the quick wins. That's kind of the first step. Number two is then we want to start preparing for the long run. This means implementing SEO type of approaches. So that means getting the website, making sure it's mobile, making sure it has a lot of call to actions, making sure it's easy to navigate, that customers can put in their information, that it works, they can call you, that works. Linking that to the Google business profile, getting reviews, automating reviews, making sure your CRM is set up correctly, making sure that people are getting follow-up emails, email campaigns, and then optimizing the content on the website. All of these are things that I would do once you get the wins coming in, that's the next step, right? You want to optimize for SEO. So why do we want to do that? Well, the game at the end of the day, there's two levers you can pull. Leads, meaning the cost per lead, the lower your cost per lead, and then your average ticket, the higher the price that you charge, right? Those are the two levers that you're able to pull. So we want to be lowering the cost per lead while increasing the average ticket. And and local SEO, your Google business profile, optimizing that, your website, and moving up in the search rankings for both of those, that's going to lower your average cost per lead, right? Cost per estimate, cost per sale, and ultimately make your margins better. So we want to target we want to be under $100. If anything, we want to be 75, 50 even. I wanted to show really quick. I'll put over the screen one of the clients we worked with that we work with. And, for a few of these months, I just wanted to show we're at a $55 cost per lead. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. That doesn't mean that we're paying $55 for LSA or $55 for Google Ads. Those are typically higher, but that means the other lever of our local organic, the cost per lead there is going to lower that average, right? So that is where local SEO reviews, your website, your Google business profile all come in. So that's kind of our phase 2 for domination in the local area. Lastly, then we just want to look for other areas where we can spend money and make money. So, and once again, I want to stress that every city is going to be different. What works in one city may not work for another city, right? So, Facebook ads, mailer campaigns, next door, any of these type of secondary ad spend or marketing efforts, we want to try them out, and we want to see if they're going to be profitable for us and see if we can make them profitable. Sometimes they can't be profitable. Sometimes they can. Sometimes they won't be profitable now, but you'll work on your sales and you'll get better, and then, they can be. So, but we can figure that out. And as your average ticket goes up, we can add new services as well, right? Because if your average ticket is $1,200 at the start, and we don't want to be over 10% of ad spend, that means we've got to get a sale for $120. And that might not fit up with some of these things. But as your average ticket goes up, right? It's $1,500, $2,000. Now, let's say it costs us $180 per closing on Facebook. Now at $1,800, your average ticket, now you're at a place where we can add Facebook. So we can always add things later as your average ticket goes up and you're more efficient as a business. So those are kind of things that come along. But that's how I generally look at it, right? I mean, the ultimate goal is to be able to outspend your competition because you're more efficient, right? You want to be able to spend more per customer than your competition so they don't get the leads that you get. So it's a little bit of a tangent, and then lastly, I just want to say this is why I'm really big on reporting and tracking. So what we implement on my end, we love to implement call rail, call tracking, right? We want to know when we pay for a lead on Google Ads, we want to know that lead came from Google Ads. When we pay for a lead on Facebook, we want to know that came from Facebook. LSA, organic. So we match all of those up, and then we offer reporting to our clients. But you should, you definitely want to have some type of reporting in place so you can get an idea of how much you spend on an ad campaign and how much you make on an ad campaign. At the end of the day, a lot of these home service business owners, they love spending money, but they do not follow up on whether it's working. You don't want to look at it on too minute of a basis, and you have to understand that it can take time to get profitable as your cost per lead goes down and your ability to sell those leads goes up. But that being said, you have to have an idea. You have to have some reporting in place to match ad spend with revenue directly for each marketing campaign. I can't stress that enough. So this is generally how I would approach. If you're a gutter company, that's the approach I would take. If hopefully you get something out of this. If you are a gutter company, if you're interested in talking about your business, what you can do, you just want to, talk a little bit about what you can do, I think we can help you there. If you want to see how we can help you, we'd love to talk more there. Feel free to hit us up. You can send me an email at josh@brightbeamseo.com or visit brightbeamseo.com. Love talking about the gutter business. I think it's a fantastic business. I think it's in a great place, but I do think that the time is going to be shrinking for businesses in this space and how much time they have to really get effective, get efficient, and get the job done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.